Watch out, it's the warning track.
Welcome back to another episode of The Warning Track here on Wayne 15 Plus, episode 6. I'm your host, Clayton McMahon, and we have a great episode today. This is going to be a fun one. So, on yesterday's show, March 16th, started my longtime Hundo slow draft fantasy baseball, and we are still in the thick of it here. Let's pull it up. We are in the middle of round 7. So we have Wayne 15's Ethan Dolan is actually up to pick right now. We'll see if he goes while this show is being recorded. We're recording this a little after 11 a.m. on March 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day to anybody who partakes. I actually feel like this draft has went pretty well so far. It's been an interesting draft. So I just made my most recent pick about an hour ago, taking Cade Smith, one of the top closers in the draft. So we'll kind of get into how this draft's been going so far, kind of my thought process behind it, as well as we'll end the show with kind of some of the latest news and notes around the league. So, yeah, hitting the back end of the 7th round here. I went mostly, my strategy has pretty much stayed the same across the 3. This is my 3rd and final draft. And everyone I've pretty much hitting early. I haven't taken a pitcher until the 5th or 6th round. In this league, I took Jacob deGrom, was able to get Jacob deGrom in the back end of the 5th. Went Jose Ramirez first overall, or my first overall pick, I should say. And I am 5th in the draft. Went Nick Kurtz in the 2nd round. This one was tough because Kyle Schwarber was still there. Now in ESPN, he does not have outfield eligibility, and so that was kind of the deciding factor. If this was a Yahoo league, I probably would have taken Schwarber, locked up one of my top outfield spot. Would have felt really good about that. But I think Nick Kurtz will be a really good pick as well. Had a phenomenal rookie season. I see no reason why he won't continue to improve on that. In the 3rd round, we could tell Marte. So I was really happy to knock out third base and second base pretty early on. Probably the 2 weakest positions in fantasy this year, I would say. Pretty consensus on that. And so 4th round went Rafael Devers. I got him in one of my Yahoo leagues. I think so. Freddie Freeman went after him in this draft. I believe in the Yahoo one I got him. Freeman went before. But I like Devers over Freeman, Bryce Harper. I would say either or on Matt Olson. Pete Alonso, I'm just not the biggest. I know he was coming off a great season. We'll see how he looks in Baltimore, but just not the biggest Pete Alonso fan in general, especially considering he went at the very early onset of the 3rd round. Just a little rich for me. And then, I took Jacob deGrom. Definitely injury concerns, but we know when this guy pitches, he's phenomenal. So, if nothing else, ideally, he'd be a good anchor for the pitching staff. And then in the 6th round, I took William Contreras. And if you can see here on this big board here, somebody took Shea Langoliers ahead of William Contreras. I guess Shea Langoliers does have better power numbers, but I don't know. I mean, William Contreras is definitely not coming off the best season ever, at least compared to his 2024, where he was fantastic. But in the late 6th round, I thought it was a really good pick. I was very happy with that, and especially if he could put up somewhere closer to this, where 280 batting average, really good plate discipline, 23 homers, 92 ribbies, 99 runs. I feel really good about that. But even if it's more closer to this, and you're still getting roughly 20 homers, 90 runs, 80 ribbies, 260, 270 batting average, I feel really good about that pick. So, and then in the 7th round, took a closer. Thankfully, the rest of the draft room made it easy for me because I was either going to take maybe Joe Ryan or Dylan Cease, were my 2 favorite starting pitchers that were available post my pick, which is right here. And then, yeah, there was just a huge starting pitcher run. Framber Valdez, Nolan McLean, Tyler Glasnow, Spencer Strider in the 7th, I thought was an interesting pick. So they kind of made my job easy. I have Andres Munoz in one of the 2 Yahoo leagues. So, well, I guess let me back up a second. Andres Munoz, Johan Duran, and Cade Smith are all pretty much identical in my opinion. And so, yeah, just for diversity's sake, didn't want to take Andres Munoz again and have him on 2 of my 3 teams. And then Cade Smith has put up a little better strikeout numbers compared to Johan Duran. Cade Smith has basically put up identical seasons each of the last 2 years, and they've been phenomenal. 70-some innings, over 100 strikeouts. Cleveland is a very good save opportunity spot. And so, yeah, I mean, just fantastic numbers. Basically, sub 1 whip, FIP numbers to back it up, amazing ERA. You can't go wrong with any 3 of those closers if you feel comfortable taking a closer early. And so, felt really good about the Cade Smith pick. I may actually have to text Ethan here. He told me he's getting coffee with somebody at Tall Rabbit. He still has a lot of time, but I guess it says he's logged in. Sometimes if you keep the browser open, it'll say that when you're technically not. So, yeah, feeling good about the draft so far. I'm a little worried about not having an outfielder after 7 rounds just because I feel like outfield does get a little thin pretty quickly. My goal is, or my hope, I should say, is that any number of like Randy Arozarena, I don't hate Soderstrom, or even Michael Harris. If one of those 3 can get back to me, I'll probably take one of those. Randy Arozarena come off a great season in Seattle. Tyler Soderstrom, let me actually just go through my thought process here in real time because I like that he also has first base eligibility, even though I already have 2 first basemen. Let me see his numbers. I remember he had an amazing start to the year, and I think kind of cooled off after that. But 25 homers, 93 ribbies, 75 runs, 8 steals, 276 batting average. So some really solid numbers. I mean, I remember he was a great prospect coming out, former first-round pick. So that wouldn't be a bad pick at all. So, yeah, hoping that one of the 3 outfielders will get back to me. I'm kind of, well, actually, I feel like the back half of these players, he's got 2 pitchers, but he also has 2 outfielders. Ethan is probably going to be going offense here, maybe another top-tier closer. Compton, he's got tons of pitchers. Man, look at that. Tarek Skubal, Christopher Sanchez, Brian Wu, Logan Webb. That's a killer lineup of pitchers there. So, yeah, he's got a couple. He only has 1 pitcher, 2 outfielders, so I'll probably be safe. This is my dad here, actually. So he could potentially get an outfielder. He's got 2 outfielders as well. So, yeah, we'll see. This is kind of the longer end of the snake for me. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14 picks when it heads down the snake until my next pick. So I think the draft has been going really well so far. It's been going pretty quickly. So we started it Monday the 16th, 9 a.m., and so we're a little past that, just over 24 hours, and already in the back half of the 7th round. So making good time there. So looking forward to that. This has always been my favorite draft. I think the whole idea of the slow draft is super cool. Very unique concept. Gives you time to study a little more. Sometimes you can maybe overthink a bit, but I really like it. I think it's super fun. Kind of getting into some of the news and notes here. Seiya Suzuki, so he was an outfielder I did not name who's still on the board, and the only reason is because he's dealing with a knee injury. He has an MRI scheduled for Monday, and like I said, we're recording this a little after, I guess it's pushing 11:30 now on March 17th, and there's not been an update on that yet, but apparently there was a report he was walking with a noticeable limp, which is obviously not good. And so just considering the uncertainty around it, it's possible maybe we'll hear an update by the time he gets back to me, and maybe he'd even be a little bit of a steal because he's put up Very, very good numbers ever since coming over to the States. Each of the last 3 years has put up an OPS over 800. Last year, 32 homers, 103 ribbies. Kind of saw a dip in batting average because of that, but 245 and in modern baseball, you can still live with that. And then 75 runs on top of it, and what should be a great Cubs lineup. So, yeah, if the MRI ends up showing something that's not too bad, I would be okay with drafting him. My guess is if he's walking with a noticeable limp, probably not going to be too good. But kind of getting into another unfortunate thing, this one hurts because I've always been a Joe Musgrove fan, and he obviously already missed all of last year, recovering from Tommy John surgery, and now he's likely to start the season on the IL. It seemed like he had a setback because of said recovery from Tommy John. It's not really 100% clear, so yeah. Manager announced Monday that Musgrove expected to open the season on the injured list. Yeah, he threw 60 pitches in an exhibition 2 weeks ago, and it just, clearly experienced a setback of some kind. He was already going pretty late in drafts. His ADP right now is 226, so that's around like the 19th, 20th round. I think if you're in a league that doesn't have IL spots, probably can't draft him. I mean, we really don't even have a timeline on him now, and he's already going to miss, as far as I know, according to these notes, he's been shut down. So, yeah, we're probably talking a May return at the earliest. So, yeah, probably can't draft him if you don't have an IL spot. If you do, I like him as like one of the last couple picks in the draft. He's definitely going to slide from even this ADP, which is already later in the draft. But yeah, I remember him kind of my early days of playing fantasy in like middle school and high school. I remember him coming up with the Astros, and him and Aaron Nola I both really liked just because they had good control, good whip numbers, and we've seen it. His kind of took him a little bit to put it together. His numbers with the Astros and Pirates were kind of mediocre, but ever since going over to the Padres, so we missed all of 2024 or 2025, and missed a good portion of 2024, but 3.18 whip or ERA, 2.93 ERA, 3.05 ERA. Even this year, I guess it was online with the FIP, but still a sub-4 ERA. Getting you about a strikeout per inning, maybe a tad more. Was definitely looking to maybe get him in the later rounds, so we'll kind of see how this looks now. So that was unfortunate. Like I said, he's always been kind of one of my favorite players. Another unfortunate injury / setback we're seeing here is with Jordan Westburg. So he's kind of recovering from a partially torn UCL in his right elbow. And news there was that there's no, well, let me make sure I'm saying it right. There was no timetable to return to baseball activities. So there was already a report. This was February 20th, so pushing a month ago now. But there was a report from the Baltimore Sun that he would be sidelined at least through the end of April due to the partially torn UCL. He did not undergo surgery. Instead, went with like one of those plasma injections and rest. And then now we're reporting that he still does not have a timeline to return to baseball activities almost a month later. So to me, that is really not a good sign. He's going about a similar ADP to Joe Musgrove, even a tad earlier. So, yeah, I'm going ADP 200 right now. So I think he's somebody that is a very similar situation to Joe Musgrove, if not even more extreme. Definitely not drafting him if you don't have IL spots. And even if you do, this just seems like something where we're talking an all-star break return, if not even a tad later, and who knows how he'll look, which is unfortunate. I feel like Jordan Westburg was kind of one of the poster childs last year in 2025 of like a breakout or hype guy, and it just didn't quite work out either. With a bunch of injuries as well, we only played 85 games, so I think he's somebody you probably don't have to worry about in drafts moving forward. Now, one of his teammates, Jackson Holliday, I am a little more optimistic on. So there was a report that he'll start taking live at bats this week. That report was from the Baltimore Banner. He seems like half a baseball is returning from a hamate bone surgery that he had in February. Fractured his hamate bone alongside Corbin Carroll and Francisco Lindor this spring training. His ADP is a little higher than the others. He's at 166 right now, but considering the prospect pedigree, former number 1 overall pick, son of Matt Holliday, crazy hit tools, prospect tools. I mean, he wasn't even coming off a terrible season in 2025, or at least if nothing else, it was a season where we saw improvements. And keep in mind, he's also only going to be 22 years old this season. So his 2024 was very rough. Batted under the Mendoza line, showed no power, 565 OPS in 60 games across 208 plate appearances. Like I said, last year was nothing too crazy. Still sub 700 OPS, but a 242 batting average wasn't terrible. 17 homers, 17 stolen bags. I think the one thing that encourages me a little bit is seeing his plate discipline improve, even if it was just a little bit. So looking at his numbers here, he had 56 walks, 140 strikeouts in 2025, which is nothing to write home about. It's not great, but not awful, especially compared to his 2024, where he only had 15 walks to 69 strikeouts. So I think this is just something where, like I said, kid was very young, literally broke into baseball at 20 years old. So I could easily see him being a post-type sleeper. I really like him, especially second base is just a shallow position anyway, so why not take the upside on a guy like that? So I got him in one of my Yahoo leagues. Yeah, or no, this is somebody else actually. Which league did I get him in? Yeah, the one I did last past Sunday. So I feel good about that. I definitely think there's some upside there. And so I don't know if this will up his ADP at all. He's still expected to miss at least a few weeks. His recovery has seemed to be not quite as quick as Corbin Carroll's was. So what it seems like is that he's going to start the season in AAA, basically be on their opening day roster, and almost just have a delayed spring training, where he'll probably play for a couple weeks there, come up in mid-April. So he is somebody that, like I said, second base, a shallow position. In Yahoo, he has dual position eligibility at shortstop. Gotta love Yahoo and the weak position eligibility requirements. So, yeah, he's somebody that I would be looking for. Kind of looking back at the draft here, old Ethan is still not drafted yet. We've only got a few more minutes left in the show. I think I probably will text or call him once we sign off here. Make sure he gets a pick in. He would probably not be happy at all. I'm sure he has a queue set up, but it's just not automatic, so it would kill the rest of the time. Geraldo Perdomo going in the 7th round, I think I don't know what to think of Perdomo. He's one of those guys that nobody's liking. Everybody thinking that his last year was a fluke. I actually had him at Honda last year, picked him up off the waiver wire. I had 20 homers, 100 RBIs, 27 stolen bags, a 290 batting average, beautiful plate discipline, had more walks than strikeouts, 98 runs. I mean, this was a fantastic season. It genuinely was. Finished 4th in MVP voting. So I honestly think that in the 7th round, it's kind of just value anyway. I mean, what are some of the other shortstops at this point? Trevor Story, Willie Adames, Jeremy Pena, who's injured, Dansby Swanson. Yeah, so I honestly think that was a good pick from Compton. He's been in the league for a long time too, and he definitely needed some offense clearly. So yeah, that was a good pick. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, the Hundo draft usually runs until like Friday, maybe Saturday. So we'll always kind of talk about this this draft throughout the week. Next week, hoping to have Ethan on to kind of give his thoughts on his team, how the draft went, kind of his thoughts heading into the season, which starts on next Wednesday. I guess just kind of some crazy picks I think there have been so far. So this Justin Bietzel, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, auto-picked, unfortunately, and so I don't know what his plans were, but the auto draft gave him pocket aces at the end, at the 1-2 turn there. Roman Anthony went in the third round, the middle third, ahead of guys like James Wood, Wyatt Langford, Pete Crow Armstrong, so that was an interesting pick. I mentioned earlier that Shea Langeliers is going ahead of William Contreras. I'm very happy about that. I was able to get William Contreras, but definitely not what I was expecting. The Spencer Strider pick was definitely a little high. I mean, I know he has the upside, but I think that's an interesting one. I was really hoping Jordan was going to get to me. I was going to take Jordan in the third round. Hattie. That guy just always eludes me. I wanted him so bad last year, which I guess worked out that I didn't get him. Other than that, I don't think this draft's been super crazy. I feel like this is a 12-man league. Most of them have been in the league for years, and so it feels like most people usually use the Fantasy Pros ranking system because the Couch Managers one is not the best. So, yeah. Mason Miller, if the closers went later than they usually do, first closer with the back end of the very end of the fifth round, where one of my Yahoo leagues, I think Mason Miller went in the fourth. So I wouldn't be surprised if me drafting Cade Smith starts a closer run. I think you're definitely going to see Andres Munoz and Johan Duran go soon. Maybe even like Devin Williams or Oldest Chapman if people are really going to be clamoring for the closers. But yeah, I was hoping Ethan would pick here. Oh well. Yeah, like I said, hopefully his 8th round we'll get one of these outfielders here, just not Seiya unless there's an update. But yeah, so draft's been going well so far. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. I appreciate everybody tuning in to another episode of The Warning Track. This is episode 6. The show's moving along really well. Been really enjoying it so far. Excited for the season to start, and we'll get into a bunch of the kind of stuff similar to if you've watched First and 15, our fantasy football show on Wayne 15 Plus. Buy low, sell high candidates, start, sit, trade. We will be going through it all. I mean, baseball never stops. It's an everyday grind. So thank you for tuning into another episode. This is your host, Clayton McMahon, signing off and wishing you a great rest of your day.
Watch out, it's the warning track.